Welcome to Accreditation Made Easy, the podcast that takes the stress out of accreditation. I'm your host, Areaka Jewell, and in each episode, we'll deliver actionable tips, expert insights, and practical strategies to help streamline the process, and of course, make your work life a little easier. Now, whether you're tackling policies, preparing for assessments, or just looking for ways to stay ahead, we've got you covered. Let's simplify accreditation, one step at a time. Hey there! Welcome back to another episode of Accreditation Made Easy. I am your host, Areaka Jewell. I am so happy that you're here today. We're going to talk about something that I hear so much, especially lately when I've been on assessments, whether it's a formal or maybe it's a mock, and an assessor identifies something that doesn't quite meet the standard, and the agency says this. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. We've always done it this way. Yep, I'm guessing you've heard it. Maybe you've even said it yourself at some point. And I get it. When something has worked for you in the past, especially if it's passed on a previous assessment, it can feel frustrating when it's suddenly being flagged. Am I right? But here's the thing. If you think about it, accreditation, the goal is not to keep doing things the same way forever, but it's to improve and refine and grow. So let's start by talking about why things change. The obvious, standards change over time. But in addition to standards changing, even if they have not been rewritten, the interpretation, the guidance, and best practices around it might have changed. Maybe a previous team overlooked something. That's possible. Maybe the current team is more well-versed in the intent of the standard, or maybe it's just being viewed through a different lens this time. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't mean that you were doing it wrong back then, but it could mean that there's a better way of doing things now. Okay, look, I get it. When something you've worked hard on is suddenly found not up to par, it can feel personal, very personal. That's defensiveness, and that's a natural reaction. But how about instead of digging in, we try to reframe the reaction? Think, what can we learn from this feedback? Does it highlight a blind spot? Could this be a chance to tighten up documentation and operations? So if we shift from a defensive mode into a growth mode, because again, that's what accreditation is all about, I want to leave you with 5 smart ways to reframe the phrase, "We've always done it this way." Number 1, let's pause and reevaluate the standard's intent. Go back and read the language. Read it word for word. Because accrediting bodies expect that you're maintaining compliance with the letter, which is going to be exactly what's written, and the spirit of the standard. Think, what is the purpose behind the requirement? Has the wording changed? Have the expectations changed? And are you interpreting it in the way it was meant to be applied? And this is where your assessors can help shed light on those things for you and your agency. Number 2, compare your policy to your practice. You might have a great system in place, but does it match your written directive? A lot of agencies, and I mean a lot of agencies, run into trouble when they do something well, but they haven't updated their policy to reflect it. Or worse, they aren't doing what their policy says. So if there is a policy practice mismatch, get it corrected. Okay, number 3, make space for internal review. And I talk about this in my social media posts, in other content posts, and I'm sure I'll get to talking to it in a podcast. But mock assessments are critical. They're great, but don't stop there. I want you to encourage full staff conversations, and I don't mean just at command staff meetings. Let everyone ask questions, let everyone offer ideas, and reflect on the why. Why do we do things the way that we do? Number 4, recognize when something was missed, either by you or by previous assessors. Even good assessors can miss things. I miss things. I'm not perfect. But just because a past practice passed in previous assessments, it doesn't mean it's going to continue to guarantee compliance. Use this as a moment to raise your standards and not just repeat the past. So recognize when something might have been missed. And last but not least, number 5, stay connected with best practices. This is big. What I mean by this is attend regional meetings if you have those. Go to conferences if you're able to, or plugging into my Accreditation Academy content hub. And I'm not just saying this because it's mine. I have tons and tons of resources, training videos, helpful tips like this, example forms and templates, and the biggest thing I have is the proof bank. I have dozens, thousands, in fact, thousands of example proofs of compliance for every single standard, showing you the various ways that agencies show compliance. This helps with staying up to date with how expectations evolve and how other agencies are solving similar problems. All right, so let's bring it home. Accreditation is built on the idea of transparency and continuous improvement. It's about asking, how can we do better? So when someone in your agency says, we've always done it this way, it's a great chance to pause and ask, yes, but does that still serve us? And if it doesn't, that's okay. It just means there's a better way forward. Okay. Let's recap on the 5 smart ways to reframe. We've always done it this way. 1, pause and reevaluate the standard's intent. 2, compare your policy to your practice. 3, make space for internal review. 4, recognize when something was missed. And 5, stay connected to best practices. All right? That's all I have for you today. I hope to see you back next week. As always, I'm going to provide this in a downloadable link so you can refer back to it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And hey, if this episode gave you something to think about, would you mind leaving a review or even sharing it with someone else in your accreditation circle? So thank you. And until next time, let's keep making accreditation easy, one step at a time.